It's time for the Luke Howard Show, and guess what? It's live at 10 every week, and it's live, so please welcome Luke Howard! Woo! 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 Oh, thank you. You get a round of applause as usual. Every week I get this, every week. Alright, calm yourselves down. Morning. Welcome to Britain's best radio show with me, the one and the only Luke Howard. Now, every weekend, that's every Saturday between 10 a.m. and 10:45, it's me, the one and the only Luke Howard, and we are live. So anything can happen between now and 10:45. So sit back, relax, enjoy Britain's best radio show, because we've got lots to look forward to today, because we're going to start the show with National Days, because today is very special. We've got Be Heard Day, it's National Be Heard Day. It's also, get your cereal out, people, because it's National Cereal Day today. And if you eat flapjack, I don't eat flapjack. First time I ate flapjack, I felt really sick. It's not very nice. But it's National Flapjack Day today, so get your flapjack out and enjoy, because it's very nice flapjack. But I don't like it. I had it before, and as I just said, I didn't feel great by having it. But yeah, have it. It's really good. Okay, so we're moving on, because we've got lots to get through on this little chat bit, because we've got to talk about the coronavirus and all of this week's news. Because Boris Johnson was on this morning, the other day. And can I just say, speaking of Boris Johnson, I just want to say congratulations. His wife is pregnant and is having a baby, so good luck to her. So we say good luck to them. Anyway, back to this, because we've got to get on with the coronavirus, because there was a 100-year-old coronavirus sufferer at the implements of the worldwide outbreak. She has left hospital with a clean bill of health. She told staff that she needed to get back to her 90... Yeah, this was a bloke. Is it a bloke? Yes, it's a bloke. Sorry, 92. He needs to get back to his 92-year-old wife. He survived. He survived it, though. He survived it. He was named by Chinese authorizations as Mr. Dao, and was admitted to hospital within a week ago, just after his birthday, would you believe? God blimey. Manum Lai said he looked very energetic as he was discharged by the medics in this is Harmut suits. He's often talked about with his 92-year-old wife, and she added that he had what he needed to get better soon, and he could go home and take care of her, because she hasn't been well herself. Mr. Dole takes his record for the oldest known survivor from fellow Withan resident Yi Yang, 98, and was discovered on Sunday. She said she now knows and faces a 2-week isolation period under observation. It came as the World Health Organization who reported that there will be a cause of optimism about halting the spread of the virus, and is in a hotspot of South Korea. And she's adding that progress was continuing to be made in China, and the director of the General Tunnel's authorization said and reported that a 92 case appears to be decline, and the cases are being reported and are being identified primarily from known clusters. He added that he had 143 cases in China, and in the previous 24 hours, and 8 provinces had not reported any infections in the last 14 days. Now, 5 other countries with patients had not reported any new cases in the past 2 weeks. Now, the experience of 3 countries and of China countries is to democracy that this is not a one-way street. The Todrick said that this pandemic can be pushed back, but only with the collective, coordinated and comprehensive approach that emerges to entire mastery of government. The positive news comes after reports to reopen in China. Previously overwhelmed hospitals in this is Wuhan, and are now held and said to have many empty beds. However, the disease has led to the postponement of a state visit to Japan by Chinese President Xi Jinping In addition to 45 patients not needing hospital treatment, 18 of the 160 infected have now recovered. Now, future patients with mild symptoms, and said that the Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitey adding, anybody who needs hospitalisation will actually be hospitalised. Proof Whitty, this is really interesting, people, so do listen. Proof Whitty said that the UK was moving serious as well, from the contain to the delay phase of its response to the virus, with 8 of the latest cases throughout the origin here. He said and warned that the NHS would face a struggle with half the eventual total of cases, and expected to come during a 3-week period when the virus peaks. He said that we would be lucky if a vaccine could be produced, oh god no, within a year, but the UK death rate was unlikely to exact 1% of infected patients. Now, we all know that the coronavirus is right here in Hertfordshire. If you live in Hertfordshire, and you'll know what I'm talking about, it's in Stevenage, it's been in St Albans, it's also been in a doctor's surgery in Ware, and they're actually saying, we're also going to be in a moment, I'm going to be telling you how you can actually wash your hands. But I just want to read the rest of this first, because this is very interesting, because he said that he would be lucky if a vaccine could be produced within a year, but the UK death was unlikely to exceed 1%. More than 90% of people aged over 80 survived it, even in a stretched health service in China. Prof. Whitty told MPs. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson vowed people would be fed even if an outbreak forces millions to go into a self-isolation, and as he put on in a surprise appearance on ITV this morning. Philip Schofield asked to do what you say to people who are stockpiling, and can you guarantee that in the absolute crux of this can be feed us? The PM replied yes, adding that the country was well placed to handle a crisis that could see much of the workforce forced to stay at home. I've just seen, speaking with the Chancellor and the Governor on the Bank of England, the UK economy is very robust. He said more than 100 staff at HSBC's headquarters office in London's Canary Wharf were sent home after analysts that tested positive for the virus. There was a school in Harlow as well, William Martin, that also closed down about a week ago because a lady was diagnosed, or came back from Italy and was diagnosed with symptoms from it. There's lots of things that we need to watch out and we need to be careful of. I'm going to be telling you, as I just said in a moment. Lots of people have been tested positive for the virus, and the 142 Britons were among 3,533 people struck on the Grand Princess cruise ship off California, and as tests were carried out after suspected cases, about hundreds ended up infected in an outbreak on the ship's sister vessel, the Diamond Princess, last month. Now, the COVID-19 death roll, and then there's also a hotel in Tenerife that's been closed down as well, which was in a bit of a crisis, but who knows. It was top 3,000 in China, where it first broke out. Experts, what do they know? Experts, what do they know? They said that there has identified 2 strains of the virus. A more aggressive one was behind the interior outbreak and accounts for 70% of cases, said a team of Peking University in Beijing, but a milder version believed to predate its relative is now spreading after. There is a risk of new mutations in the future which will increase the threat. Proof Neil Ferguson of Imperial College London said that efforts to halt the virus had failed as the number of countries with cases hit 80. Now you can see from the statistics that the number of countries have affected their battle really over. He said that Britons who have been anywhere in the several affected Italy's got it really bad. Italy is very bad at the moment, especially northern Italy. In the last 2 weeks are now advised to self-isolate if they have feel ill. Officials in Hong Kong warned people against kissing their dogs after tests showed that one out of a low level COVID-19 probably passed on by a human, I suppose. And so it's a terrible story. I mean, and now I've got to tell you how you can wash your hands. Now, I only learnt this yesterday. To wash your hands, you've got to wash them under cold water for 20 seconds. Sorry, not cold water. Hot water, 20 seconds, and I tell you what, just sing happy birthday to yourself twice, and then that is how long you need to wash them for. How easy is that? Very, very easy, just washing for 20 seconds, and just sing happy birthday twice to yourself, and that is how many seconds is in 20 seconds. Okay, right, there's another piece of news I want to talk about now, and because of the weather as well, not just the coronavirus, so from coronavirus moving on to weather now, because a bloke called Kevin Lorriman has said this: a roof of my own, this is all that's left after floods. The owner of a bungalow left almost completely submerged by flooding says that he wants to prevent the same disaster happening to other families. Kevin Lorriman is just one of the dozens of people facing the prospect of losing their homes after their villages in East Yorkshire were launched in a week ago. Just the roof and solar panels are visionable above the muddy 9 feet deep floodwater and created when the river Ice spilled out of its washlands, despite facing the prospect of his home in Snaith having to demolished. The 56-year-old said that he is keen to make sure no one forgets other people in a similar situation. He said that there are hundreds of people, and I think it's 69 houses in total affected in East Cowick and not far away, as well as those in Snaith. He said that they are all in the same situation, and he said, I am in even those who've just had a few inches. It's caused huge amount of damage, and it will take a lot of recovery. Mr. Lorriman is living in his caravan as he prepares to move into a reunited house, while the bungalow he shared with his daughter, son-in-law and 2 grandchildren slowly re-emerged from the water. He said the community has pulled together, but he wants to see the country better prepared in the future. Now, he needs to be action taken at a much higher level to prevent this happening again. He said we need to build a flood resilience. He said I didn't want my family to go through it again. I don't want anyone to go through this again at all. Mr. Lorriman said that many of these high hours will needed help and urged people to donate to Just Giving page to set up the community. Now, East Riding Council said that water levels has dropped by around 12 inches overnight from Monday to Tuesday. Vast amounts of the water were pumped in by the River Don, and damage workers dug trenches to help reduce flood water levels. Now, spokeswoman Bridget Gills said the organisations had been working and around the clock since the flooding started a week ago. We will continue to provide a high level of support over the coming days and weeks for those affected as we move into a recovery, she's added. She said she a clean-up operation in the river until catchment is one of the scores around northern England, the Midlands and Wales as the UK countries to expect one of the wettest ever winters. Because it's true, I think this winter has actually been one of the wettest on ever. It's got to be, come on. It was really wet. Yeah, they're saying it's the wettest February on record. 2.9.1 million inches, apparently, we've had right across the country. We had snow, I mean, we've had snow as well, but they're actually saying it is the wettest ever. It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be the wettest ever, don't you think? Come on, people. But don't you think we've had the wettest winter ever? That's what I think. That's exactly what I think. Now, Prince Charles and Camilla is what I want to talk about now, and the Duchess and Duke of Cambridge as well. They were all seen in public the other day, because the royals tried to show that they were just like the rest of us, basically. They just wanted to show that we was like the public, travelling on a bus, going into a supermarket, to a deli counter and buying some stuff off there. A bakery. I went to a bakery as well. And this is on when was this? Wednesday. Wednesday they did this. They shopped in a Londis, and Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall rode in a double-decker bus. Now, Prince William and Kate went to a village store in, where was this? In Prosperous's Coquidel for an exercise in life skills with 2 13-year-olds called Simon and Molly. The royal couple were visiting a family respite centre run by the social justice charity Eastern on the second day of their tour of Ireland. Who's been to Ireland? Anybody been to Ireland? Oh, I've been to Ireland. I know some people in Ireland. Before they set off to buy a recreationist for a vegetable soup, William checked the items needed, telling families that we're going to shop for you, and we'll be shop for everybody else as well, and then we'll be back in a minute. We'll bring back all the wrong ingredients. The couple who had a £20, which is £17 actually, to spend later with the bag of previous, including brown bread, butter and leeks, and helped prepare the soup of the 16 children and relatives. Meanwhile, Charles and Camilla tried a London Transport Museum to help celebrate 20 years of Transport of London. They rode there on an electric bus boarding of a specially installed term previously stopped outside Clarence House. They then sat at the front of the top of the decker for a 10-minute journey to Covent Garden. Inside the museum, Camilla stepped briefly into an old air raid shelter. And she said, I'm self-isolating. She said, I'm self-isolating. That's amazing. Well done. Good for them. Good for the royal family is all I can say. To